Most farmers and gardeners have no idea that this grant exists. I almost had no idea that this grant exists until I reached out to the USDA this past fall. I figured it just made sense to introduce myself to the county USDA office near my farm and share with them the different plans I have for pollinators and creating an overall pollinator farm at my property. They were responsive to my email and scheduled a time to come to my farm to talk more with me about what my plans are for the future here. I let them know I am looking to do conservation related things. That was about all I knew at the time. When they came this past October, I was incredibly impressed by all of the different materials they brought with them. They brought handouts of my land over the last 100 years, which was very cool to see. That was when I learned that my property has been a hayfield for 100 years. Go figure. We also went over the different types of soil that I have at my property and what type of crops would do better at different points in the land. I learned so much with them that day. I was very appreciative of it. I didn't have to sign a contract for that information, and they spent almost 3 hours with me answering my questions and just going over everything there was to know about this property I now found myself in ownership of. While they were there that day, they told me about a grant program that they believed would line up most closely with what I am doing here at this property. I had never heard of this program before, and I agreed with them. Yeah, that sounds exactly like what I would be looking to do here. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what this program is, and spoiler alert, I did receive news last week that I have been pre-approved for funds through this grant program to be allocated this fall for the first half of the project, and then the second half of the project will occur in April 2026. I'm very excited about this. Never in a million years did I think my application would be pre-approved for the first and only grant I have ever applied for. For those who are going to write below and say, how come this chick deserves this money? Don't hate the player, hate the game, you guys. There's so many different grants out there for people doing things related to farming, homesteading, organic, regenerative farming, all of that. I am incredibly encouraged that all of this is still going on. I can't tell you how many people wrote to me saying, oh, with the current president, you know, that's definitely defunct. Good luck with your USDA money. Well, turns out it doesn't matter. And in fact, this program was actually funded by Congress back in 2023 through 2026. What does the future of the program look like come 2027? I can't tell you that. I am not a genie. What I do know is it is very much in effect right now for at least another 18 months. So if I was you guys, I would get that bag and apply to this program as well. The grant program I am referring to is called EQIP or EQIP. No, there is no U in it, but everyone just says EQIP. This program is designed to give funds to people who are doing small farming, regenerative farming, urban farming, and have a conservation component to what they are doing. When I say the USDA, I'm specifically working with the NRCS branch of the USDA to apply for this grant program and then receive funds from the program. It's all through the NRCS. If you want to reach out to the NRCS, they are going to be in the USDA office as well. So you would still start your search by either calling or emailing that county office near you. I've had some people tell me that their USDA office is not responsive. Two things to that. First, I would then start calling the counties over from you and tell them that and ask them to connect them to the correct personnel in your county. Or two, these offices are public. They have a public component to them. So I would not hesitate to walk into the office and demand that somebody speak with you. I have not had this issue with my office. They've been amazing. I have had this issue with different things related to government, and I found you can just walk right in there when it's open and politely demand that somebody speak or help you. This past fall, the NRCS went over the EQIP program with me and kind of everything it would entail. They let me know I would not have to sign a binding contract unless my application was pre-approved. Obviously, you have to sign a contract to receive free money from the government. No, it's not free money from the government. It is our taxpayer dollars that is being allocated back to you. I will break down the moral side of this later on in the video. We had our introductory meeting this past fall, and then we proceeded over the next 3 months or so to hash out exactly what it is that I'm looking to do at this land to enhance its ability. Something just startled my chickens. Hold on. Chickens are fine. They just got a little spooked. We went over how I could enhance my property's ability to be more hospitable to nature, land conservation, pollinators, native plants, species, that type of thing. We actually went over 3 different ways that I could do that, and I declined the third option for fear that it was actually more work than I could handle as a first-time farmer and gardener learning a lot over here. I did go ahead and proceed to submit for a 2-part project that has been approved, both parts. The first part is to maintain the prairie, the wild prairie I have at my property. It's about 5 acres or so. It's the wildland I haven't touched. It has a lot of great species in it, like common milkweed, goldenrod, and aster. It also has a lot of invasive species as well. To maintain the prairie status, I'm going to have it brush hogged 1/3 of it for the next 3 years. They told me it was beneficial to do 1/3 at a time to not disrupt the current species out there too much. I said, sounds good to me. So I was pre-approved for that for the next 3 years. So they will be releasing funds that cover the brush hogging 1/3 at a time for the next 3 years. That's the first part of the project. The second part of the project is actually to have 60 trees put in at the front of my property. Borders a 100-acre hayfield with lots of cornfields behind it. That causes the wind to pick up quite violently and whip across my property all too often. I lost a lot of sunflowers and other native plants to the wind last year. That is definitely my biggest battle at this property. And I said to them, a windbreak, you guys tell me, I'm guessing would be beneficial to all of the native plants I'm going to invest a lot of money in this year, not losing them, especially when they're babies. You know, I just had 15 different berry bushes put in here. I would like to not lose them. That was approved. So it's for 60 native cedar trees. I have to get them from USDA approved native plant nurseries. They gave me a big packet of all the places that they approve. It is on me as the landowner to find the trees, purchase the trees from the registered nurseries. It's on me to also find the person who's going to be brush hogging the property. Once I do these things as part of the grant money, it is then released to you once the contract has been satisfied. This is kind of contractual obligations 101. I will be taking you guys along with me through every step of it. I'm obviously in the beginning right now. This week I will be receiving the physical contract from them in the mail. I'm obviously going to look over it very extensively. I have a political science background. I have a lot of lawyer friends, so don't worry about me and spotting things that aren't so great in a contract. I got it covered. If anything is weird in this contract or whatever, I'll keep you guys posted. I'm not here to lie about any of this. I love being my own science experiment. I am incredibly excited, like I said, and encouraged by this. As somebody who is doing all of this to my 7 acres alone without a tractor, I appreciate any help, physical or monetary, that I am receiving along the way. And it makes me want to get on here so that other people know it is available to you. A couple final things about the EQIP program. You don't need an acreage minimum. So if you have 1/8 of an acre and you live in a village, but you're planning on doing incredible conservation, pollinator, whatever related type of stuff, I would still reach out to them. If you live in a city, you don't even have a backyard, but you're really intensively gardening, a balcony, a roof, you're trying to put together a community garden type of project, I would still reach out to them. It is still for you. Another crazy thing about it is there is no maximum amount of times you can apply for projects within it. So the third project that I declined was putting native plant plugs into my 5 acres to help with the diversity out there. Obviously, I want to do that at some point. I just felt like I should probably tackle 60 trees and brush hogging first and then apply for that when I'm ready. So this fall, I'll apply for that for next year. Again, one woman show over here. 2 years ago, I didn't even know the difference between sandy and clay soil, okay? So I am going as fast as I can, but I can apply for additional projects with them while I am receiving funding for other projects. Now, if you have a moral problem with that, if you don't like that our government is using our taxpayer dollars towards conservation work, the first thing I would say to you is vote your representatives out. That is the point of a democracy. If you say, well, we don't live in a democracy, I'm not going to get into the weeds of that currently. Again, poli-sci major, we can talk political theory if you want. I don't want to, though. Vote your representative out. I don't know what to tell you. These programs are available. Those of you who have been with me since the beginning know 10 years ago, I worked for the state of New York. Never again. You know, the government is bloated. Big Brother is bad. I'm with you on all of that. That's why I bought 7 acres and I'm out here in the freaking country. That being said, by working for the government, I am aware when these taxpayer dollars are allocated to these programs, when they are established in the legislative chambers, they have to give this money out. It has to go towards what it is set up for in its bank account. The grant money has to be given out. The politicians want the grant money to go out because it makes them look good. So whoever gets to claim the credit for this at the end of the day and say X amount of acres were saved, X amount of acres were preserved, it makes somebody somewhere look good in a legislative chamber, which to them helps them get reelected. That's how all of this works. That's the catch. The other catch is I will be signing a contract to obviously receive thousands of free dollars from the government. Hello, of course. The contract is coming this week. I promise you guys I will be honest about what the contract looks like, what the obligations are, and that sort of thing. I'm not worried about getting tied into a contract with these people. I'm sure you have all learned by now, I am quite fearless. I get bored easy. I love a good challenge, a good crazy thing to learn about. I have a feeling this isn't quite as bad as people have tried to tell me it was. Everyone's been wrong this whole time, pretty much. And I reserve the right to also decline signing this contract. So you can get entirely up to this point without signing a contract with them. You have nothing to lose by emailing them, getting an application in, and waiting to hear first if you even won any money. I didn't have to sign anything up until this point. I think that's pretty cool. I am happy to go ahead and explore this avenue with you guys. If anyone out there is considering applying for USDA grant money, let me know below. I'm very interested by this. This is only the beginning of different grant programs I am going to be contacting over here. Combine poli-sci with my freelance writing background, and I am more than happy to keep looking up and exploring different grant programs. And believe me, they are out there for this type of thing. They are. That being said, I have so much more content coming your guys' way. Remember, there is a massive land revolution now occurring in this country. $24 trillion worth of farmland is going to change hands starting now over the next 20 years. Why? The average age of the American farmer is over 60. They are simply retiring or unable to continue working their land. I would much rather you guys buy this land than Wall Street, foreign entities, and corporations. I think we would all agree on that. My last piece of advice is you don't need 100 acres to be a farmer. 3 acres can actually feed 70 families. Less than 1 acre can feed your family with plenty of surplus to sell at a farm stand or a farmer's market. I believe the future of what farming is and looks like is about to change. That's going to ruffle some feathers. Again, I'm just the messenger here. I'm coming at you live from inside my bunny shed because it is freezing cold in upstate New York right now. We're having crazy weather patterns and crazy wind. So I brought the phone in here to spare you guys from the mic being blown out. With that, be back soon. Bye, guys.